Rappers get no bitches.
She says, I want a Rolls Royce colored in 2025. I'm gonna leave that there while I go take a piss. This is how bitches is talking to our favorite rappers.
In fact, you watching the video right now might actually get more. Actually, if you're on this channel watching the video, that's probably not the case. Now, of course, there's a little bit of hyperbole going on here, but this is based in truth, and I'll explain why at the end of the video. But first, let's examine if this actually is the case. Now, Jacked and Stacked recently made a return to YouTube, so I'll let him, a fellow black man, begin this video.
In order to really be able to date outside your race and get really good quality, I'm talking about like the same quality that an average ass white dude would be able to get, you gotta be something exceptional. You know, you either gotta have status, height, looks. You almost gotta be damn near Superman. You almost damn near gotta be a Superman, you know? I'm serious. I'm not saying, guys, there's not exceptions out there.
What he's saying here is absolutely true. And when we look at rappers, what do we see that they have going for them? Is it face and height? Or is it more on the money and status side?
I'm gonna pull up fourth quarter. Hey. Y'all niggas. Hey, you at the dinner like a kid picking toys. On a PJ. Yeah, you know I flew that girl to Turks on a B-day. I got up under her skirt on a B-day. Hey, 100,000 back to back for a week straight. Bitch, you know how we play.
We have some outlier cases like ASAP Rocky, which we're gonna address at the end of the video. The majority of successful rappers are not exactly blessed, and that's probably why they, and people in general, often end up becoming successful in non-beauty department fields. People who don't organically attract girls will tend to work harder as a cope so they can compensate with money and status, which I do fully support. I agree, you should be doing that. And rapping doesn't require you to be beautiful, unlike singing like Justin Bieber to a female audience. It just requires a dominant, dangerous, or aggressive look. And sometimes that aggressive street look can be synergistic with existing good looks, but you need the attractive genetic foundation. ASAP Rocky has it, but Lil Baby does not have it, for example. That's why you see countless rappers like Lil Baby openly beta bucksing to girls, and even rapping about beta bucksing and flexing this need to compensate, which I find very odd. I find it so strange to flex that you need to compensate, but it is an interesting thing. But they even simp pretty hard for girls too. It's not just that. Lil Baby was essentially begging a girl to talk to him that he had some attachment to, and was even willing to buy her a car worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
He says, you know what exactly to say, huh? She says, I want a Rolls Royce colored in 2025. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, Chad. Oh, no. Yo, this chick that said a $500,000 car. Oh, my God. That's what you get for making songs talking about, you can have the big Chanel in the store if you want it. Yo, these chicks are telling you straight up, you ain't even hit yet. Yo, buy me a Rolls Royce colored if you... Chat, let's go. I'm gonna leave that there while I go take a piss. This is how bitches is talking to our favorite rappers. You want this pussy? Buy my dream car. It's a $600,000 car. Then we can fuck. Holy.
This is insanely embarrassing to me, but an interesting thought I sometimes play with is, what if these rappers accept that they're genetically flawed or inferior in terms of the looks department at least, and thus they're flexing their acceptance of this and their willingness to work hard for the cat? Because they seem to be pretty self-aware that they're tricking, so I play with the idea that they know that these girls don't even find them attractive and they can't change that, so maybe they're just flexing the acceptance because it's stoic. Obviously, they don't know what stoicism is, but it's the same idea. It's like, yeah, I know I'm ugly, but I know I can't change that, and I'm strong enough to not bitch about that, so I'm just gonna work hard and do what I can do and make this money and get bitches more than you through this avenue. And maybe that's something that they're proud of because they seem to openly flex this in their music. Or maybe they're just completely oblivious, you know? That could be a possibility as well. But the lyrics often insinuate that they know the girl is with them for money and that they won't be fooled by a hoe, even though they actually do often get fooled by a hoe, which we're going to get into shortly. So for one, we all agree that the way they're attaining these women is not through genuine desire. It's mostly through beta buxing, and they even admit it themselves in their own lyrics, in their own song, that they know they're beta buxing. They know that these women are with them for the wrong reasons or with them for the money. They are the ones who admit this, and they flex it like it's something to be proud of. Again, I don't personally fully understand, I don't fully comprehend why they would want to flex that their raw genetic material is insufficient without compensation. But, you know, to each their own, I guess. I tried my best to rationalize it. Anyway, with this very high status and money, well, I should say perceived money, because they often are financially irresponsible and go broke very, very quickly. Even with this very high status and perceived money, let's look at the type of women that these rappers are able to attain.
Finally get myself together. Hold on. Bitches don't be having, you know, these bitches don't be having no edges, right? They don't be having no edges. They skin be bummy. And they stay talking about how golden look, but bitch, golden is still flawless, bitch. Golden look 10 years younger without makeup. I'm not just saying this shit. Y'all see it right now.
Yeah, you tell him, sweetheart.
What, bitch? What?
Fuck. Well, without even having to show you the women, I'm sure you're very familiar with the typical archetype that they're getting with. You know, I think we all know it's always the same. Is it the Victoria's Secret models? Is it the actresses? No. Now, I'm not saying some of these girls aren't attractive, and I'm not saying I wouldn't be taking down these girls myself, and that, you know, I haven't dabbled in some of these before. But are these girls the top of the food chain? That's the question. The ones that you would think somebody as high status and high perceived money as a rapper would be able to get. At least when I was a kid in high school, you know, I'm thinking that these rappers have the pick of the litter. And it's just not the case at all. I would argue that a rapper would prefer your typical average college girl, you know, a natural college girl who's just pretty and good looking, the type of girl that you could get if you're a good looking guy in college, and that it's all just one big cope for them to say that BBLs and these plastic surgery prostitutes are their preference. And we hear Clavicular sharing these same notions when he was on the interview with DJ Academics, and I commend DJ Academics for being very open-minded to this conversation.
My black friends, like me and my one friend, right? His name is AJ, right? We'll look at a girl and I'll say, like, he loves BBL chicks. I call half of those chicks fat. I'm like, that's just fat redistributed. Like, that's a fat bitch. But for him, he's like, dude, she's not fat, she's perfect. I like more of a petite woman, more likely. And I'll point out a woman who maybe fits that build, and he'll look at me and he says, yo, you like anorexic girls. So that becomes like this really distinct preference. And I do think within the black community, I do think there is a preference of what is normalized. And that could probably have the other implications you're talking about, or maybe those things affect that preference, where most women who would be probably on a BMI level, seemingly normal weight, they're almost seen as underweight. And women who would normally be overweight, they're like, no, they're normal, based on what you see on TV. Like, you see these chicks on TV? Like,
right. But the other thing is that there's also a cope involved with that. Your friend AJ, is he famous or anything like that?
He likes what, like, but all right, listen.
Well, this is very important.
Okay.
So is
no. So I'll use, because he likes the same girls that like a rapper like Lil Baby would like.
Okay.
And a rapper like Lil Baby, a rapper like Lil Baby, like he's gonna go after the woman with like the big bodacious ass, like, you know, her belly button is moved up or down a couple centimeters because she's gotten all the works done. It's over accentuated features. If you actually look at it just on a scale, and by the way, I walked in the house, there's a motherfucking scale downstairs. Like, it's a fucking scale down.
Yeah.
I thought these things was like CGI, there's a fucking scale.
No.
Wait, what's a scale for? Okay, so back to Lil Baby, right? And this is most rappers. Most rappers, I always say, me and rappers don't have the same taste for women. I don't like women with a BBL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like over accentuated features. I like women with normally proportioned bodies and usually bodies that are not
Natural.
plastic. Yeah, I like natural bodies.
As do I.
And in hip hop, those women are actually considered, if we're gonna use the looks maxing term, subhuman to the girl with the BBL. The girl that was like 215 pounds, she gets lipo. I think they call lipo 360 now. She sucks out some fat. She takes the other fat, stuffs it in her butthole or her buttocks, and creates some titties.
Mm-hmm.
Her waist looks like this. That's what in hip hop, for rappers especially, I see like a lot of people are attracted to. So that's why I was trying to have you explain, why do you think, because I think that's preference.
Well, here's the thing. The top of the top women aren't getting with rappers. You know what I mean? Because quite frankly, there's dudes who are better looking, have more money, have more status than these rappers, right? Even, kick streamers, whatever streamers.
That's actually an interesting point you mentioned.
Have more money than these fucking rappers. You know what I mean? So that's not the highest end of what they're able to get with. So a lot of the times people have to cope and tell themselves that they have a preference for these kind of things, like maybe your friend, when it's actually not ideal at all. But it's easier for them to, tell themselves, oh, I really like these women who have super fat asses. Maybe they're a little bit overweight. I just like a bigger girl. That's thickness. That's this, whatever. Then actually acknowledging the problem they can't get with these top level women.
Maybe it is cope in hip hop a little.
It is cope. It is.
At a point they changed the word fat to no, it's not. It's
thick.
THATT. It's not FAT. And then they're like, no, it's not fat. It's thick. Mm-hmm. So you think that's kind of all cope?
It's cope. Yeah, because think about it, right? I mean,
could someone actually be generally just attracted to? Yeah, she weighs like 188 pounds. She's supposed to weigh 135, but it's in the right places.
No,
there's like a
I really
fat
don't
ass.
think so. I don't think so. And it is funny how, like, you think about it for a second, rappers really don't have that much money. They don't. They are financially irresponsible a lot of the time. They're buying stupid shit. They're blowing it all. Same with, athletes too. They're 5 years after they're retired, they got no money left. Same thing is true with rappers. So they're just not that top echelon where they could get with these models who are in shape, have these perfectly natural bodies, beautiful faces.
So far we addressed the way these rappers are able to get any women at all, and it's through beta buxing, not genuine desire. It's through clout chasing and beta buxing. Secondly, we examine the looks of the women the rappers are having to settle with because it's not their preference. It's just the best that they can get. It's the best that they could do, which is often not as good as your average good-looking guy in college. But now, most importantly, above all, it's the inner qualities of these girls. And athletes fall victim to a similar situation because they suffer from the same problem to a lower degree because they are often saved by height, frame, physicality, and I'd say the athletic competence does also hold genetic value as well. But the point is, they all deal with this problem, and that's the kind of women who are reaching out to them and hanging out in their circles because it's always these same strategic, conniving women. These women are objective-oriented for money and clout and have been with tons of other rappers, sometimes even friends and collaborators of the rapper, and quite literally like indirect prostitutes.
Rappers aren't dating from the whole world. They're dating from the same circles over and over. I'm talking same faces, same rooms, same rotation, just behind different doors. Now let's talk about some of those very popular faces in hip-hop. Because if you've been anywhere near hip-hop culture or even hip-hop adjacent, you might recognize at least one of the women on the screen right now. Let's start with the one to the left, and that is Selena Powell, the self-proclaimed industry thought. And then we have Ruby Rose, someone who got her first big breakthrough dating Playboy Carti. She rode that momentum very nicely, got connected to the right people, and before you know it, she popped up in the Bad and Bougie music video. Wasn't Takeoff left off Bad and Bougie? RP to Takeoff. From there, Ruby Rose became a recognized face in the industry. She's dated several rappers in the game, built a massive IG presence, dropped music, launched an OnlyFans account. Now Ruby is interesting because she really understood the environment very early on and turned visibility into a business model. And unlike a lot of the women who got caught up in a game, Ruby caught on to the game early and capitalized off of all of it, securing her own bag in the process.
These are not the kinds of women you want to ever take seriously, and the rappers even admit this themselves. They admit, like, I'd never take a hoe serious, she's getting kicked to the curb after we're done or whatever. They say all this, this is what they say in their songs. They agree with this, but often their actions do speak otherwise. Despite this, they end up getting attached and they end up simping for these girls and even beefing with other rappers and former friends over literal prostitutes with plastic surgery. You see, if rappers had better options, then they wouldn't have these problems. They wouldn't continue hanging out with these girls in the same circles who are acting like sharks, who have no purity, who aren't even upper echelon in the looks department. Like, if they had the options, they wouldn't be dealing with these girls. It's that simple. Like, the proof is in the pudding. If they had better options, they would not be dealing with these girls, but the truth is that they don't. They don't. Contrary to what you might have initially thought, contrary to what I thought when I was in high school, these rappers talking about how easy it is for them to get girls and whatnot. And you would think because of their high money and their high status, but nope. Nope, it's not true. So I guess rappers do get bitches, they do, but it's through beta buxing, and the ones that they do are just, they're not very attractive, to put it quite simply, at least compared to, the real upper echelon ones. And these upper echelon ones, you even see like good looking guys in college with no job getting. And sometimes not even chads, not even chad lights. Sometimes high tier normies are getting these like upper echelon quality women in college and they have nothing going for them. It's literally just their genetics. Now, what about exceptions? Let's talk about some exceptions, and there's two that I want to highlight. One exception is when the money and status is extremely, extremely high. And where do we see this? It's going to be with Drake. Drake is on a different level in terms of his money and status. So Drake is actually one of the few, potentially only rappers able to attain the Victoria's Secret model quality in terms of looks at least. But even Drake runs into trouble in paradise with those girls because oftentimes they're not good in terms of inner qualities. The album he made, For All the Dogs, low-key sounds like an album about coping and the black pill if you listen closely to some tracks. I think after Drake lost Rihanna, and this is just a theory, I think after Drake lost Rihanna, I think he might have done a lot of inner reflection and started looking at some potential looks flaws he might have, and he's clearly insecure about some things. He's had a couple of surgeries. I know 2 are confirmed, one of which is his abdominal surgery. So it would make sense that he's dabbled in, I wouldn't call him a black pillar for sure, but I'd say he's a gray pillar. Like, he's probably looked into some looks maxing concepts before. I would not be surprised if he's had the time to go down some of these rabbit holes after getting his heart broken so many times. And I mean, that's why we love Drake music, right? Because it's relatable to a lot of guys. And I don't think those stories are fake at all. I think that Drake genuinely, falls in love with some girls and he realizes that they're with him for the money and status and not for him, not for his genetic quality. And also another funny thing, he hates clavicular, and I suspect it's because of a comment that Clavicular made about his eye area. Clavicular said, I couldn't find the clip, but he said something like, Drake's eyes are giga far apart. And yeah, Drake took that to heart you know, that definitely hurt his feelings. So, you know, Drake cares about this kind of stuff. He knows it matters.
He said 5 was a micro.
No way.
That's so gay. Yeah, look.
But no way it's real though, right?
Bro, I mean,
Is it actually real? Is that real? No way.
yo, Posty, is it real?
That's gotta be.
Was that an Aiden's? Oh, they say it was an Aiden's.
Probably fake.
How the f does he know?
I mean, even if that's just
Yeah.
gay, bro. We talk about another man's, bro. Like,
Dude,
wait,
that's
see,
definitely
yo,
someone who
bro.
logged into his account or hacked him or something.
I mean, Drake is
I doubt-
zesty, bro.
Well, I doubt Drake has the time of day to be typing in
Oh, he
chat.
definitely does, bro.
Nah, let's be real. Let's see. It's real? No shot. Why the f did Drake diss me? Bro, that's zesty.
Now, the other kind of outlier we see is somebody like ASAP Rocky. And do I need to spell it out for this one? I think you guys could tell what's going on here. Anyway, ASAP Rocky ended up cuffing Rihanna, who's not only, I think we could all agree she's beautiful, like top, you know, pretty far up there, but she's also very successful too, you know? And I don't know if I would say I like all of her qualities, the inner qualities. You know, there's some things I don't like, but look, it's Rihanna. All right, guys. The point is he won. You know, he came away with a good one compared to all these other rappers. Like, it's a very, very big W. And you got to remember, Rihanna left Drake. Rihanna left Drake heartbroken, and ASAP Rocky pumped and dumped Drake's baby mama. So that's an important part of the nuance with their beef. So yeah, Drake might have like took Rihanna out on a date, maybe been intimate with her as well. You know, that's not confirmed. But even if that's the case, the point is Rihanna left Drake. Drake didn't leave Rihanna. Rihanna left Drake heartbroken and sad and writing songs all about it. And ASAP Rocky took her. And ASAP Rocky pumped and dumped Drake's baby mama. So yeah, that's saying a lot. What does it all come down to, guys? It comes down to genetics, really. That's the most important thing at the end of the day. It's genetics. And aside from ASAP Rocky and perhaps a few other outliers that you guys could leave in the comments below, most of these average to below average looking rappers are really just victims of the race pill, and it's very unfortunate. I'd encourage you to watch Jacked and Stacked video on the plight of black men, because they really do deal with many nuanced difficulties that society doesn't acknowledge, and it's sad to see. So I want to do my part and bring some attention to it as well, so, you know, maybe the gaslighting can kind of be reduced, or at least just make you guys feel like your problems are being heard, like you're being understood. You know, like I get it. I know what your struggle is. I know that it's not fair. I know that there's certain expectations for you too, which are really unfair. And I think Jacked and Stacked dives into a lot of that stuff in the video. I'd encourage you to watch it. Now, while I think that community might deal with the most gaslighting, I think the ones who might have it worse, like net overall, who has it the toughest, I think the award has to go to Indians, especially how society is just openly racist to Indians, and like there's never any consequences for it. It's just really sad to see. And not to mention, like, a lot of Indians and Asians as well also suffer from very unfair things. It's like the opposite of DEI hiring. You know, like they're quite literally excluded from being treated fairly in many cases. There's just so many struggles for Indian and Asian people that I feel like go completely unaddressed. And I guess I just want to let you guys know that someone out there understands you, even if, you know, my voice doesn't really mean much. You know, I understand your struggles are pretty unfair, and I understand society is gaslighting you a lot. So, yeah, you know, that's kind of why I wanted to make today's video. But I knew I had to do it with a somewhat you know, more interesting topic, but that's the main purpose of today's video. It's more just to bring attention to these kinds of things. Join the Discord, links in the description below. Other than that though, you know, have a good rest of your day.